What's up guys, it's John here at Daddy Directive, and today we are going to talk about what's known as transitional object, or more commonly known as Lovey. A Lovey can be an object that is either a pacifier, doll, or blanket that your baby uses to comfort himself when he's feeling any sort of anxiety. And those kind of anxiety can be from separating from their parents or trying to soothe himself back to sleep at night. I'm going to talk about how you can introduce this Lovey, as well as when you should introduce it, and lastly, what you should do to manage it and maintain it with your baby. But before we get onto that, I would love it if you hit that like button, because that'll be your way of showing me the comfort and the sense of happiness for me. Let's get right to it. So a Lovey helps your baby calm himself, soothe himself when the mom and dad can't always be there for them. It is a good idea to help them have a Lovey so they have their own way of self-soothing themselves. So how should you introduce the Lovey to your baby? The first thing is that you have to make sure that the Lovey you're introducing is age appropriate and safe. The American Academy of Pediatrics actually recommends that you do not have any objects in the crib until the baby is 1 year old. Doctors recommend that you actually introduce the Lovey around 10 months, where you would use the Lovey in your daytime routine. So they will familiarize with the object and start to form a bond with it. But when they're sleeping, you have to make sure that you take it out of the crib so that it doesn't become a choking hazard at night. Speaking of choking hazards, you want to also make sure that the object is not too small enough, because around that time the babies pretty much put everything in their mouth. Anything that they can get their hands on, they will put it in their mouth. So if the object is too small, that could act as a choking hazard. So you want to make sure they're relatively big, but not too big. You want to keep the object to be most likely somewhere between 0 to 50 centimeters. So when they do grow up, it's something that they can carry easily as well. And in order to future-proof it a little bit, you want to make sure that you don't choose an object where they can actually use it as a step when they grow a little bit older from the crib to escape from the crib. Because trust me, they will use anything to step on and to try to get over that crib when they can. This is why we usually recommend a soft blankie or doll as a Lovey, as it is something that is soft and large enough that it won't be a choking hazard, but it feels nice because of the soft textures that they usually have. And on top of that, it's not something they can really use as a step because it will be all squashy. The second thing is, obviously you have to find an item that your child likes. Every baby is a little bit different. Some babies will prefer dolls, while some babies will prefer the initial blankie that they used to use. Some babies form those kind of Lovey attachment to their pacifier as well. Introduce them to a couple of these items and let them choose over time. And it will become quite apparent over time as to which object they will like to use as Lovey. The third thing is you want to incorporate the Lovey into your daytime routine when it comes to the nap or transitioning into an evening routine. So not only is your baby forming a bond with this object, but he or she is also associating sleep with this object too. So with the use of this Lovey, they will have much easier time when going to sleep. And lastly, you want to incorporate the Lovey into a bedtime routine as well, because for the similar reason that I already mentioned in the third tip. So when it comes to actually choosing an object, whether that would be a doll or a blanket, you want to choose a material that is very soft and nice to touch, because the reliance on such object is dependent on the sensory element that reduces the stress of separation and provides comfort and security for the baby. Even as an adult, when you have a really nice soft blankie, you feel good. You feel like you want to cuddle it. It's exactly the same with the baby. You want to provide material that is very soft to touch and that just feels really nice. And that is the case with a lot of the baby dolls and baby blankies. So if you feel that the material is very harsh and not very soft, they're probably not going to attach to that. Now, do keep in mind that not all babies will have a Lovey. Note that while some parents find it extremely useful to have this Lovey with their child, especially during the time when they're feeling a lot of separation anxiety or if they're experiencing sleep regressions. But not all babies are the same. Certain babies don't really form a strong bond to an object and they don't really need the lovey, while others just don't need it at all. Just because your child doesn't seem to be forming a bond with any particular object and don't have anything that could be categorized as a lovey, there's no problem with that. By the way, if you want to find out more about separation anxiety, I've made a video on that and you can check it out using the link over here. And now you know when and how to introduce the lovey to your little one. So what should you do when it comes to managing and maintaining that lovey? The very first tip that I would give is to make sure that you have a spare. Don't introduce an object as a lovey to your baby if it is not replaceable, because they will form a very strong bond with it to the point where they wouldn't actually allow you to take it to wash it. If you end up with an object that they formed a bond to and it is an object that is not replaceable, then you are in serious trouble. And the second thing that you should make sure is that you want to use an object that is washable, because they will be sucking on it, cuddling it, throwing it, rubbing against it, and it's gonna smell very, very quickly. For hygienic reasons, that you want to make sure that it is something that you can wash regularly and the object is not just gonna fall apart because you start washing it too often. And when it comes to managing the lovey, you want to make sure that you do set limits. Because if you don't set any limits, your baby will want to take that lovey around pretty much everywhere and anywhere. Set some ground rules. For example, your baby can have a lovey anywhere around the house, but it's not something to be taken to the playground. Or the lovey can be something they can have in the car, but not something that they can take it into the store. And also give your baby or your child a little bit of control over how they can handle and manage the lovey as well. You can even ask them for help. You can ask them where should they keep the lovey so it could stay safe. You could also encourage them to come up with ideas how the lovey should be buckled to the stroller so it will stay secure when they are outside as well. This interaction is encouraged because baby actually learns some social interaction with the use of lovey as well. Some parents actually worry that sometimes their baby is too attached to this lovey. But it is considered normal to have this kind of attachment, especially if your baby is under 5 years old. Don't worry, they're not going to take the lovey all the way to university degree. Like, they will grow out of it eventually. And if you actually forcefully take away the lovey, it would actually cause more harm than good, because the presence of the lovey provides a little bit more resilience for the child. In fact, there were research that indicates that children who were deprived of object relations were more prone to pathological disorders. Guys, I hope you found that information useful, and if you did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. I post on Mondays and Thursdays with parenting tips and advices that may be helpful to other parents out there. As always, thank you for watching and happy parenting.